Can everyone hear me?
I can.
So good to see people.
Nation doesn't actually exist. He says that you
But it's the, I told you.
Take it down here! Basement caved in!
Remind everyone to check if they're muted. Hey, can everyone message in the chat like what their name is and where you're tuning in from?
Recording in progress.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. We have Anna from North Carolina, Riley from Florida, Ash from Virginia, Anne from Oregon, Emily from Michigan, Angelina from Dallas, Sarah from New York, Stephanie from Florida, Gia from New York, and Ali from Dallas. Okay, and there's so much more. Okay, I'm so excited to see so many of you guys here. Thank you all for coming and joining tonight. My name is Claudia Nachega. I'm the Deputy Executive Director at the Young Feminist Party. And tonight we are co-anchoring this call with the Feminist Front. And you're going to hear from our brilliant organizers tonight about basically like post-election landscape, what we're working with, and how we are going to build back and defend abortion and queer rights through advocating for the Equal Rights Amendment in the next few months leading up to Trump's inauguration. So we're going to talk about strategies, we're going to talk about a new campaign, we're going to talk about actions that everyone on this call can plug into and support our fight against fascism and our pursuit of gender justice. I just want to take a moment and acknowledge just the weight of the election results and just the fact that we are living in very scary times right now. I'm not sure how many of us thought that we would be living to see a second Trump presidency rise again. I certainly didn't think I would. When I first heard of Trump, he was running for president in 2016. That's when I was in middle school, and now I'm in college, and it's still happening. So tonight, we're gathered here today. We've grieved, but now it's time for us to build up and organize. And it's so good to have you guys on this call so that we can talk it out, we can strategize, and we can get it going. So I think we have a slides presentation also set up for you guys as well. I'm not sure if you guys can see it with the spotlight on. Can I have someone from the tech team figure it out? Okay, it's coming up. Okay, so we're going to start off with just like taking a look at the landscape and what's coming ahead. And our policy director, Arush Santoshi from the Young Feminist Party, is going to break it down for y'all.
Okay, hi everyone. It's actually so amazing to see that we're at capacity on the Zoom call. The energy is here, and I'm so excited that we're all sharing this space. Like Claudia said, my name is Arush. I work with YFP's national policy team, and I just want to ground us in the political moment that we're in. Not that we all don't know what's going on, but I think it's helpful to be explicit about what's going on, the wins and losses that happen on Tuesday and in the coming days. So starting with wins, I think it's important to acknowledge where things went amazingly. So 10 states had abortion-related ballot initiatives on the ballot this year, and 7 of those states passed their resolutions. So shout out to Missouri, Arizona, Colorado, Maryland, Montana, Nevada, and New York. New York specifically passed a super expansive state equal rights amendment that includes explicit protections for sex, sexual orientation, and pregnancy outcomes, which is super amazing. And the totality of these measures permanently protected the right to abortion for 8.2 million people of reproductive age. So this is super exciting, and I think just a testament to the work that this movement can accomplish and the wins that we can generate. Unfortunately, there were also some losses. In Nebraska, the abortion measure failed, and instead voters voted to enshrine more abortion restrictions in the Constitution. In South Dakota, a similar measure failed. In Florida, we fell just shy of the anti-democratic 60% threshold needed to pass ballot initiatives like this. Interestingly enough, the vote to increase the threshold to 60% won with only 57% of voter approval. So it was truly because of the anti-democratic nature of Florida's process that the legislation failed. But also shout out to organizers in those 3 states who worked tirelessly and I'm sure carved out a path to future victories in incoming elections. Some other electoral wins: Angela Alsobrooks defeated Larry Hogan to become Maryland's first Black senator, and this will be the first Senate in which 2 Black women are serving simultaneously. And also Representative-elect Sarah McBride is going to become the first openly trans member of Congress for Delaware's at-large district. So a lot of wins happened this cycle that we should all be very proud of, and hopefully we can reflect on and hold true as we talk about the stuff that kind of went wrong. And that goes to the second bullet point: Republican control. Republicans have won a trifecta, essentially. They have the presidency, they have the Senate. They don't have a filibuster-proof majority, but it's still a sizable majority. And the House, although it hasn't been called, will likely also be Republican. SCOTUS, obviously, it's a supermajority right now in favor of the conservative perspective, and Trump has the potential to appoint more justices. There's speculation that Justices Thomas and Alito could step down and be replaced by younger appointees, which would cement the conservative majority for years to come. And I think that's materializing as we speak right now. Just this term, the Supreme Court is going to hear a major trans rights case called Scrimetti v. US, and that's jumping down a little bit. Essentially, this is a challenge that was waged by trans minors, their parents, and healthcare providers in the state of Tennessee, who argued that the state's ban on gender-affirming care violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. And so the Supreme Court is going to hear that this term. And we know how they're inclined to rule, but we also want to make sure that we're present in that conversation. We'll talk about that later in the call. And now for Project 2025 and GOP threats, there are multiple avenues of planned gender attack. Because of the trifecta, and also because they won the popular vote, Republicans are likely going to be galvanized to implement aspects of Project 2025 into their agenda. That could include the potential for a national abortion ban and blanket restrictions on trans-affirming care, the complete erosion of Title IX, potentially on par with what we saw under Betsy DeVos during the first Trump administration, the further victimization of queer and trans youth. These are all realities that we're going to have to contend with, but also I hope that we can hold space for the victories that we have this cycle and the fact that a new progressive generation of lawmakers is going to be in Congress fighting for us and for our needs.
All right. Thank you so much, Arush, for giving us a really good rundown of what we're dealing with, our wins and losses from the election. So right now we're going to have Sophia and Grace from the Feminist Front talk about what we're going to do to build coalition, take action, and meeting the moment that we're all existing in right now. Okay, I was going to share the slides, although I don't have I don't have access to share right now.
You got it now. You got it, Queen.
Okay, beautiful. We got it, y'all. All right. Okay, can everyone see this? We good? I just want to make sure everyone can see the screen.
No, it's not loaded in yet.
Yeah, it's just blank.
Really? Says my screen share is paused. Oh, it's still loading. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, Claudia, I can start sharing again because we have the live stream link up, which will be dropped in the chat in just a second.
Okay, beautiful.
I see it up now.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, and now we're going to pass it off to Sophia and Grace from the Feminist Front.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Wait, now we cannot hear you, Sophia.
Great.
Okay, we'll pass it off to Grace.
We'll mess it up too. Hi everyone. I'm Grace.
So I just want to say another huge thank you for coming. We want to ground each other in what this moment is.
Hi everyone. I am Grace. Sophia is our co-chair of the Feminist Front. I'm the organizing director of the Feminist Front. We are so excited to be on this call to meet all of you guys.
So, oh, lagging.
And exactly, Sophia is too powerful. She's breaking the Zoom. We're like, it's so amazing to see so many
Apologies, folks. We're having some tech.
now I can hear you, Sophia. All good. I just wanted to say thank you everyone for being on this call. It's so amazing to see so many people. Really just like thank you for being here in this moment. And it's so important for everyone to really just, yeah, stay here grounded in this moment and rise to this moment. We at the Feminist Front are I don't know how many people are familiar with our organization. We're here as a coalition of folks, youth ages 15 to 35, fighting for gender justice, for reproductive rights, racial justice. And we're just so excited to meet all of you guys. We work really closely with the Young Feminist Party on this issue, and we're really, really excited to be in coalition with them and believe that we are stronger together. And with all of us, we can actually affect change and get this done. So I just wanted to say thank you again to the Young Feminist Party for having us on, having us co-anchor this space.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Grace. We loved hearing from you, and we want to pass it off to Pooja to give us a rundown of our legislative and electoral strategy that we're going to undertake in terms of pushing for immediate ERA publication and putting pressure on Congress and the White House, i.e. Biden, to get it done.
Thanks, Claudia. Can everyone hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got you.
Sorry. Policy director for the government, and I am excited to present on what our strategy is going to be going forward regarding legislative and executive action. So the ERA, as you all know, has met all the requirements it needs to be the 28th Amendment to our Constitution. So right now, all we are asking is for it to be published and for the National Archivist to sign it into our Constitution. Those are just the last two simple steps that we need. I know it sounds so simple, but it's been really hard to get those last two steps going. And we have a couple of resolutions in Congress right now that we have been pushing for years now. And sorry, I'll talk a little slower. So the first one is in Congress regarding the deadline. So this is to remove the deadline off of the Equal Rights Amendment that was placed as a limit. And this is HJ Res 28 and SJ Res going in the Senate right now. And we also have another resolution called the ERA Now resolution, and this affirms the Equal Rights Amendment as a 28th Amendment to the Constitution and calls on the national. Oh, I'm breaking up. Okay. I'm gonna pass it to Arush, who you guys heard from earlier. If my audio is breaking up, sorry about that, guys.
Hi, no, you're so good, Pooja. Yeah, so I can jump in and quickly explain this. So there's two main paths towards ERA publication at this point, right? So one is congressional action, and this is probably the most safe path in terms of avoiding judicial challenges, which will come either way. So there's the piece of legislation, HJ Res 28 and SJ Res 4, which is to remove the deadline on the Equal Rights Amendment. So our targets for this campaign are lame duck House Republicans. So these are Republicans in purple districts who just lost their elections to Democratic challengers. A good example is Mark Molinaro in New York, and Senate Democratic leadership. So for this legislation to pass, it would need to get voted on in both chambers of Congress. And so we hope that targeting moderate Republicans who really have nothing to lose because they won't be in Congress next year is a viable path towards getting this legislation passed in the House. And so our ask is the ERA Now discharge petition and Senate filibuster removal. A discharge petition essentially allows legislation to be removed from a committee. So currently, because the House is controlled by Republicans, progressive legislation like the ERA deadline removal is being held up in committee. So a discharge petition, which requires a simple majority, would discharge the legislation from that petition and bring it to the House floor for a vote, even against the wishes of the majority leader. Likewise, Senate filibuster removal is super important because the filibuster is also inherently anti-democratic and stands in the way of progress on all fronts, including the Equal Rights Amendment. So asking for a filibuster removal or a carve-out exception for abortion rights, and as we know, the Equal Rights Amendment is inherently and intimately tied to abortion rights, could be a path forward for making this legislation successful in the Senate. And even if these asks are specifically unsuccessful, there's a general thing of pressure. Something that we have learned from doing work in Congresses controlled by Republicans, or where one of both chambers are controlled by Republicans, is that those kind of off sessions are important times for coalition work and building up coalitions so that when there is an amenable majority, progress can happen fast and instantly. And so a through line is congressional pressure. Another avenue for ERA publication is the White House. So a target is to ask President Biden to immediately publish the Equal Rights Amendment. He is also a lame duck president. He can take swift and decisive action that will cement his legacy as the president who put women, queer people, non-binary people in our Constitution. And we think this is also a viable path forward.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Arush, for explaining to us our legislative strategy when it comes to getting the ERA across the finish line. We know that Biden and Congress can do so much more, especially given the fact that Biden is a lame duck president. And with a single signature, one instruction towards the National Archivist, we can get the ERA in the Constitution. Now, we have to build pressure to get there. And Ella Duncan High, our organizing director at the Young Feminist Party, is going to explain to you how we're going to get it done in the next 72 days.
All right, thank you so much. Can everybody hear me okay? I know we've been having some crazy technical difficulties. So
beautifully, Ella.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay, so really quick, before I get into our whole escalation arc and what we're really on this here call to learn about and to get plugged into, first and foremost, the ERA stands for the Equal Rights Amendment. And the Equal Rights Amendment is going to be a foundational piece of an amendment in our US Constitution that will guarantee not only the right to abortion, but also protection for queer people, and to have women and queer people in our Constitution and our protections represented. And this can go across all different boards, from sexual assault to equal pay, the whole shebang. So if you mind going over to the next slide, let's go ahead and get into what our escalation arc is going to look like over these next 72 days leading up to inauguration. All right, so here's a big overview right now of what we have planned. Starting November 20th, we're going to go in with a Capitol Hill die-in that is going to put direct pressure on one of our strategies, which is getting it through the House and the Senate. December 4th, we're going to be doing walkouts all across the country, and we're going to have a big action in DC to pressure Biden to publish the ERA. And then following all of these actions, we're going to be leading up all the way into January, determining what our space looks like right now, what the best path forward is, and we're going to be having different actions, different ways to get plugged in, and really putting this one last ditch pressure point into making sure that Biden publishes the ERA before he leaves office. So let's go ahead and get into our most exciting and most recent action that we're going to be having is the Capitol Hill die-ins on November 20th. So this is going to take place in Capitol Hill. We're going to be going through the House and Senate buildings, targeting lame duck House GOP targets. So these are going to be people who have lost their races, either have nothing to lose or have not yet signed on to the deadline removal or the discharge petition sign on. We're also going to be having people coming into Senate offices, Democratic Senate offices, to push for the filibuster removal for the Equal Rights Amendment itself. So this is not only going to have our bodies on the line, but we're going to be out there and present. And, you know, also this is a really great pressure point of Biden seeing these young people and seeing these young people put themselves in civil disobedience situations to really have this one last moment that we can get to publish the ERA. And then as you can see on the bottom too, until this and through November 20th, we're going to be having so many digital campaigns. We're going to be calling people. We're going to be sending emails. We are not going to let this be silent. We're going to be loud about this because we have to put in all we absolutely can to get this done. And if you can't come to one of these events in person, there are absolutely so many different things that we're going to get you plugged into, to doing things virtually and meeting you where you can get plugged in. So Capitol Hill die-ins, if you are interested in joining this action, I sent a link in the chat right here. This will take you directly to our Mobilize, and you can sign up there. We'll have meetings prior, discussing what this is going to look like, discussing all that sort of stuff. So next, if we can move on to our next action. All right, so national walkouts and DC shutdown, y'all. Guys, we are bringing it back. We are going to be doing the high school walkouts. We're doing the campus walkouts. We want young people really to be on the front lines and make their voice heard and organize in their local communities. So this is going to be December 4th, which is the day of the infamous court hearing relating to trans and queer individual rights and autonomy. So not only are we going to be discussing this court case, but we're also going to be providing a solution. The Equal Rights Amendment is a foundational piece that will prevent things like this from happening again, and making sure that queer people and queer youth don't have to deal with these heinous laws. Again, like I said, going to be on local places, your high schools, your campuses, but we're also going to be having a DC walkout to SCOTUS. So campuses in DC, anybody from DC in the Northern Virginia area and the Maryland area can come out and join us being in front of SCOTUS. Our demand this time, differently than what our demand is for Congress, but we are specifically asking Biden himself to publish the ERA. Like I said, this is the legal version, and
Good catch.
to do this right.
Lucky.
Another risk with this one is that there is a potential civil disobedience. Again, not the case for everybody. Those who don't want to be involved don't have to be involved.
Sorry, Ella, you're muted.
You're all good. Don't silence me. I'm just kidding. We'll have different ways on how you can get plugged in and be active differently. Publish the ERA. Publish the ERA means that putting it in the Constitution itself. So the Equal Rights Amendment has fulfilled all the necessary requirements of being an amendment in the Constitution, but the only thing that's standing in its way is the actual publication of it. So once Biden instructs the archivist to write it into the Constitution, that's what we're looking towards. So in here, I have a way that you can get involved. If you click the link, you can sign up for the December 4th walkout and the ERA Now movement. All right, perfect. That's it from me.
Okay, so I want to address a few questions that I'm seeing in the chat. And I think right now what we can do is let's stop the screen share. Rosie can stop the screen share and fix some things on the back end that we're going to share with you shortly. But in the meantime, like, I'll just address questions as they come head on. So number one question, why hasn't Biden published the Equal Rights Amendment, and what does it mean to publish the Equal Rights Amendment? So like Ella explained, the Equal Rights Amendment did pass. Not a lot of people know this. Despite the deadline, states still decided to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, and the last state to do so was Virginia in 2020. So as of a few years, President Biden and the courts are well aware that the Equal Rights Amendment has been duly ratified by the 38 necessary states for it to be in the Constitution. Now, because of this issue with the deadline, which most legal scholars in the United States, at least most of the relevant legal scholars in the United States, have basically said that the deadline is useless, and for all intents and purposes, the ERA is a part of our Constitution. Now, to actually get it into the Constitution, the president himself has to instruct the National Archivist, that's another bureaucratic figure under the executive branch, to literally publish it into the Constitution. So that's why we're pressuring Biden to publish it. We're also pressuring Congress basically to pass bills that will quote unquote formally remove the deadline, just because that is a procedural hurdle that some people want us to go through, and we'll do it, not because the deadline is valid, but because it is also a really good pressure point for Biden to look to and fulfill his mandate as president and put us in the Constitution. So I hope that answers a few questions. I will say, why is it called a die-in if we are just talking to politicians for Monica? So we're not just talking to politicians. The Capitol Hill die-in on November 20th is not just going to be a regular run-of-the-mill lobby meeting. Ideally, we want to have 20 organizers come in to Capitol Hill with us. We're gonna I think visually our die-in is gonna look pretty compelling, and it's gonna be an act of civil disobedience. Not in terms of risk level, not everyone who participates in the die-in has to take that heightened level of risk. Anyone is more than welcome to participate without doing that, but there will be a civil disobedience component in terms of not moving in the office when you are asked to leave. That's the part that puts the pressure on the office to take action. They're already going to know what our demands are. So it's not going to be your regular lobby meeting. This will be disruptive. We will be taking up space and we will be escalating action, as is essential to our quote unquote escalation arc. Okay. We have more questions. Will there be a sample letter list of emails and phone numbers for us to call for those that are far from DC? Okay, that's from Ali. Yes. So towards the end of the call, we're going to give you guys a bunch of resources that you can use in terms of filling out every actions and forms, etc., so that we're getting the message out to everyone in our movement and the elected leaders that we have to put pressure on in terms of removing the deadline on the Equal Rights Amendment, affirming it as the 28th Amendment, and directly calling upon Biden to take action and publish it into the Constitution.
Claudia, I think talking about the next steps and actions is going to answer some of these questions too. So if you want to get into that.
Okay, awesome. So next steps in action, either Ella or Sophia can take that on. Ella, Ella, go ahead. Ella will explain how y'all can plug in.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see here, we have a lovely list of different steps that you can take to getting involved in our escalation arc and our last few chances we have to get this published. So action number 1 is to endorse the ERA now and share around. So we have a link, and I will drop this right now in the chat. To endorse the ERA movement and our ERA Now campaign. I dropped the individual endorsement, but if you have an organization that you are a part of who on behalf of them you are interested in endorsing our campaign, you are absolutely welcome to fill out the second link that I just sent. So the first one is an individual and pledge to your commitment on taking action and moving this campaign along. And then the second one is your organization's endorsement. Action number 2 is to send a letter to Congress to demanding #ERA now. Does Rosie mind sending that link in the chat? That would be helpful for me. But sending a letter to Congress to demand ERA now. Action number 3, join us in person, DC, November 20th. Like I said, this is going to be our die-ins, as Claudia was talking about. Here is the link to that. And then action number 4, host a walkout in your local community for the December 4th action. This can be anywhere. This can be if you are a university student, if you're a high school student, if you are just a local organizer, you can absolutely organize in your local community or even organize in front of a local court in your area. Here is the link for that. And then also make a donation to us. We are completely student run here at the YFP, and every little bit counts. It helps our or our organizers keep doing what they're doing. It provides resources for us, you know, when we have students out who are spending their entire days or their weeks working on things, who need to be fed, who need to be housed, who need, you know, posters and markers and things like that, transportation fees. All that stuff goes directly to us in helping us plan the actions and really make this movement go forward. So if you're interested in donating, I will actually drop our official Publish ERA Now website in the chat now. I know I totally just spewed a bunch of different links at you guys, but if you missed any of them, if you need to go back, if you want to send it to a friend, publisheranow.org is our official website with the Feminist Front in making this campaign happen and making the ERA be published in these last few days that we have. So, yeah, thank you.
I'm dropping in right now our legislative links too, because we need to be spamming them every chance we get.
Okay, thank you so much, Ella, for giving us a really good rundown of the specific actions that every single person on this call can take and plug into our next 72 days of action. I'm going to pass it off to Sophia and to Grace from the Feminist Front to give us a few closing words.
Sophia, can we hear you?
All right, testing, check. Can folks hear me?
Yes.
We made it. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate everybody's patience with all of the tech, but you know what? That's what we are in. We are here as community. We're here to do this together by any means necessary. I want to make it very clear. We know right now exactly what is coming. They told us. Y'all hear me? They told us. They told us in advance that they wanted a national abortion ban. They told us in advance they're coming for queer and trans youth in particular, but people of all ages. This is a very real time for us to come together, particularly what we believe in this lame duck session, to put as many protections forward as possible for our communities for what we know will be very, very hard in the next several years. Our solution is the Equal Rights Amendment because we've been working on this as a feminist movement in this country for over 100 years now. So honor your feminist ancestors, honor the queer people and the women and the trans people who came before you, and really dig in these 2 months. We are calling on you right now. I need you to sign up on the link. I do not care how much work you have done on this in decades. I do not care if this is your first meeting today. It is you. It is literally going to be us saving ourselves, us, our lives on the line, who decide it is all in for these next 2 months to finally publish this damn ERA in this damn country that was built on damn genocide, that couldn't even put women and queer people in its own fucking constitution. That's the honest truth. So now we're here. We're here because this country could not elect a woman. We're here because this country chose racism and sexism and genocide and homophobia instead. So I'm telling you today because honestly, community is the only thing that's going to get us through. I believe in the people on this call. We believe in the people on this call. We know what it means because we know what's at stake. It's us. All the people on this call are really who are going to show up and show out for not only our generation, but generations to come. So if you signed on today, it means that you're an organizer. Welcome, welcome to the movement. We're happy to have you. We need you to click the links. We need you to sign up. There is a role for everybody. And no, we're going to win this shit because we're going to give it all we got. You with me? Say it in the chat if you're with us. Let's go. I want everybody in the chat to say ERA now. It's been 100 years. It's finally time. Women to have a place in this country, queer people to have a place in this country. Let's really build out a true feminist movement. Thank you so much on behalf of YFP and the Feminist Front. We're here with you. Let's lead our generation into real feminism.
Let's give it up for Sophia. Okay. Sophia, I've been told that Sophia has a prophetic voice and message whenever she speaks. I'm sure if you guys have just heard, that's absolutely true. If Grace wants to give any final words as well, Grace, you can take up the floor.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how I can follow that.
You can, because you're brilliant. We're doing it together, Grace. Tell us how you walked in. Tell us how you got here. Let's go. Let's do it together. We're in it together.
Okay. So if anyone here is like, this is your first, like you're literally your first ever organizing call, like raise your hand, put it in the chat, or don't if you're shy. But I was very disorganized as an activist for a very long time. I, became a feminist while I was in high school. I became kind of attuned to feminism. I first learned about the Equal Rights Amendment while I was a teenager. When I was in college, I was in my second year of college in 2016 when Trump was elected. That was my first protest, was after he was elected. And I was doing a lot of talking with the women around me, my classmates, lots of going to kind of random actions, but I was never organized. I was never in community. And it wasn't until I moved to Los Angeles, and in 2022, soon after I moved to Los Angeles, the Dobbs decision was brought down. And I was like, this is it's like how they say about like investing. They're like, the best time to do it was 10 years ago. The best time is today. The best time to get organized was years ago, but the second best time is today. And I was like, I can no longer just like go to a random protest here or there. I have to plug in. This has to be a long-term thing. And I was so lucky to find the Feminist Front. I emailed a different organization that was based somewhere else. They pointed me to the Feminist Front. And ever since then, I have been on the ground, working in community with these folks. And I just want to say, I knew nothing. I knew nothing about organizing. I was so green. And they brought me in. They taught me everything. They have helped me every step of the way. This community we are about uplifting each other. We are about bringing each other in, about training each other, about building each other up. We have to build this movement together. And that means building each other up. And do not be shy. Do not be afraid. Do not feel like not confident, because we need you. Like, you are so important. Everyone is so crucial to this moment. And this is the perfect time to get organized, to get in here. Like, we are so excited that you're here. And we are just really, really need to see you moving forward. Like, this is the time. I want to see everybody here showing up to all of this in any way that you can. I want everyone here also now you're all organizers. As Sophia said, you guys are all organizers. Now it's your job to bring all of your friends, anyone else that you know, into this movement. Send them all those links. Get them on the next call that the Feminist Front or the YFP has. Teach them what the ERA is. I was literally just telling some friends the other day about what the Equal Rights Amendment was. And they fully thought that it died in the 70s. But no, it's now, literally ERA now. We're going to send you guys all the stuff. Everything is on our website, which is thepublisheranow.org. All of the info is going to be there. And if anyone else is part of another organization and you want to sign on and be in coalition with us and sign on to this movement, there is a page there to do that. And with that, I'm just going to bring it back to YFP. Thank you all so much for letting me take it.
Thank you so much, Grace. Okay, so we have a lot of time left on this call. We haven't used up the hour yet, but I mean, I just want to reaffirm what every single organizer and leader on this call has said today, and every single person that has joined us to be in community, not just to like be in solidarity with each other and reflect on what we've lost, but reflecting and strategizing and looking forwards towards how we win. And I think that's what's the most important, actually plugging into the actions and the resources that the organizers that are working day in and day out on this have been crafting for us all. And I know a lot of people have asked about the links to the specific actions. PublishERAnow.org is our new website. Every single thing that we've shared here tonight for you guys to plug in and take action is on that website. I know there's a lot of links. Everything is on that website. So that's just what I'll direct you guys towards. But yeah, so I think for now we're good. And we're going to continue to build, we're going to continue to organize, we're going to continue to win. If anyone has any lingering questions, I am good to stay on this call and just field them for anyone who's curious. If you want to learn a little bit more about the action, or if you want to learn a little bit more about the ERA and some of like the specifics and nitty-gritty behind it. But we've had an amazing time tonight, y'all, and I just want to thank you all for coming and for joining.
Recording stopped.
Okay, Anna asked, will you keep us updated on any marches? Yes. All the updated information about actions that we're taking is going to be on the PublishERAnow.org website. This campaign is being led by the Feminist Front and the Young Feminist Party. I'm from the Young Feminist Party. You can also head to our Instagram at Young Feminist Party. Follow us, and we're always posting about what we're doing, and all of the links on the PublishERAnow.org website will also be there. Is Biden alone able to publish the ERA from Quinn? Yes, Biden alone can publish the Equal Rights Amendment. If you're a little familiar with the constitutional amendment process, Congress has to vote on it. Congress did that decades ago in the 70s. 38 states have to ratify it. The last and final state that was needed to ratify the ERA was Virginia 4 years ago. 2020. Because of this issue with the deadline, which an overwhelming amount of legal scholars have come out saying the deadline is not valid, have essentially said that the only thing left in terms of getting the ERA in the Constitution is just the president's signature to actually sign it into the Constitution. And he hasn't yet. There are procedural hurdles. There are people saying that the ERA is not valid, that it died. That is not true. So Biden alone can publish. Question from Kristen. Are both Young Feminist Party and the Feminist Front just for school/college students? would love to get more involved. No, so the Young Feminist Party and the Feminist Front are not just for college students or high schoolers. We just started out as being movement organizations that were founded by young people. And while the majority of our base is young people centered, we're not exclusionary. Anybody can join the Young Feminist Party. Anybody can join the Feminist Front. We need as many hands on deck when it comes to building the movement power we need to get the wins that we want. The Young Feminist Party and the Feminist Front, open to anybody who wants to join. But it helped to get Kamala's team folded into have her pressure. I would say just because Kamala's the vice president, there's not much that her office alone can do in terms of putting pressure on Biden to publish. Strategically, it just makes more sense to focus on Biden. That was a little different before we had the election results come out, because we knew that Harris had the potential to become the next POTUS and do it herself. But post-election, that's not the reality anymore. The pressure has to be put on Biden. What would joining the Feminist Front consist of? How involved would we be? So I hope we're also not counting out the Young Feminist Party. If you go to the publisheranow.org website, that's where you can get all the information and resources in terms of plugging into the campaign that both the Feminist Front and the Young Feminist Party are organizing. If you want to specifically become a member of the Young Feminist Party, you can just head to our website, youngfeministparty.org, and become a member. You can also head to our Instagram. We have the link in our bio to become a member. I can't speak to how to become a member of the Feminist Front because I don't work with their movement organization, but this is what I can say for YFP. Who would I be?
It's also just a link. It's a Google form. All it takes. All it takes is a Google form, everybody. Then you're in.
Yes, what Grace said. Thank you. Okay. I see a few people have just joined the call. We wrapped up the bulk of our presentation. Right now, we're just answering questions from anyone who wants to learn more. But if you've just joined, we have a recording of this meeting that will be published on our Instagram and on our website soon, so you can look back and see what you missed. But if you just want to be redirected to how you can take action right now and things to plug into, visit publisheranow.org. You'll have the links to get registered to fuel the movement, and to register for some direct actions that we have coming up. We have a Capitol Hill die-in that we'll be doing in Washington, D.C., in House and Senate office buildings on November 20th. We will also have a national day of action on December 4th, where we're hoping that organizers, volunteers can host walkouts in their communities. If you're a young person, in your schools, and if you're based in the DC area, we'll have walkouts leading up to, we'll have walkouts with organizers on the ground marching up to the Supreme Court and making some noise.
Hi, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I just realized your hand was raised.
No, you're good. So this is my first ever call, but I was wondering, for when leading a walkout for like a school, how is that usually done? Should I coordinate with like other clubs at my school, or how would you suggest it be completed for like a high school?
Mm-hmm.
I can actually answer this one if that's okay, Claudia.
Yes.
Oh my God, awesome. Well, hello, it's awesome to meet you. I would be one of the people who you'd be in contact for that. And once you sign up, we're gonna actually have so many different calls and so many different resources explaining just that. But the basics that you need to know right now is, first, you said you're from high school?
Yes.
Yeah, so high school workouts, normally you start with first presenting your issue to your administration, depending if you're a public or private high school. And then from there, you get a team, you get your friends involved, you start planning, you start organizing, and we have a whole system in place to walk you through every step of the way, especially if it's your first time. I remember planning my first time, and it was it can be really daunting, but we're going to be with you every step of the way. So fill out the form, and then start asking your friends if they'd be interested, and start getting a small team together, because it's not just you alone who is going to be doing this stuff. It takes a whole team to do it. So.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much. I'll complete the form right now.
Awesome. Can't wait to start talking.
Oh, you're muted, Claudia.
Awkward. Sorry. Okay. Whitney asked, do either of these organizations fight for immigrant rights? Yes. The short answer is yes. The long answer is our movement organization has a focus on fighting for the ERA, gender, and queer rights. However, we are an intersectional movement, and we're allied with other movement organizations and coalition for a broader theory / vision and goal for progressive change that uplifts the most marginalized communities, whichever those communities may be, and that includes organizations whose focus is on fighting for immigrant rights. And I'm really excited to say that, like Dream Defenders, for example, is it either Dream Defenders or United We Dream? I get them confused. Both of them have been partners with us in the past on actions that we've had for the ERA and for abortion. And we've likewise endorsed and supported them in their actions as well. Okay. So we're about to hit 9 o'clock, but I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined the call tonight. It was so good to see you guys, and I'm hoping to see you guys again at future actions. If you have any questions, you can DM us on Instagram. Visit the website for all the information that you need to take action in these next 72 days. And with that, I'll close out. Bye, y'all.